Imagine a creature of immense power, a living relic from a prehistoric age, weighing over to tons and capable of charging at speeds up to 30 miles per hour. This is the rhinoceros, a true titan of the savanna. But what happens when this armored giant, a symbol of brute strength, is pushed to its absolute limit? What happens when it's forced into a desperate battle, not against a predator, but against its own kind, or even against the relentless forces of nature itself? Prepare to witness the raw, unfiltered reality of a rhino's fight for survival. This isn't just about dominance. It's a life-or-death struggle where every charge, every clash of horns, and every ounce of strength could be the difference between continuing its legacy and becoming another casualty in the wild. The world of the rhinoceros is one governed by ancient rules and powerful instincts. At the heart of their social structure lies a complex system of dominance and territory. For a male rhino or bull, life is a constant test of strength. His territory is his kingdom, a precious piece of land that contains vital resources like water holes, grazing grounds, and, most importantly, access to receptive females. Protecting this kingdom is his primary directive, a duty he must uphold against all challengers. And challengers are never in short supply. Younger, ambitious bulls, full of vigor and eager to establish their own legacy, are always lurking on the fringes, waiting for any sign of weakness. When a challenger decides to make his move, the savanna transforms into an arena. The initial confrontation is often a display of intimidation. The two behemoths will stand face to face, snorting, scraping the ground with their powerful feet, and swinging their massive heads. It's a psychological war, a test of nerve. They might engage in dung kicking, a ritual where they scatter their rivals' dung piles with their hind legs, a profound act of disrespect in the rhino world. They are sizing each other up, gauging the other's resolve. The air crackles with tension, a palpable energy that signals the impending explosion of violence. Sometimes the less confident bull will back down, conceding defeat without a physical blow. But when two equally determined rhinos meet, diplomacy fails, and the situation escalates into a full-blown battle. The charge is a terrifying spectacle of raw power. Tons of muscle and bone hurtle across the ground, the earth trembling with each thunderous step. The impact is cataclysmic. The primary weapon is the magnificent horn, not bone, but a dense mass of keratin, the same substance as human fingernails, yet sharpened to a deadly point through constant use. They jab and thrust, aiming for the neck, shoulders, and flanks of their opponent. These are not glancing blows. They are pile-driving strikes designed to inflict serious injury. The sound of horn clashing against thick, armored hide echoes across the plains. Deep, guttural roars and pained squeals fill the air as the combatants push and shove, each trying to gain a tactical advantage to force the other off balance. These fights are brutal and can last for hours. The rhinos become covered in dust, mud, and often blood. Wounds are common. Deep gashes, puncture wounds from the sharp horns, and sometimes even broken bones are the price of this conflict. The sheer endurance required is staggering. They fight until one can no longer continue, until exhaustion and pain overwhelm him. The loser, battered and humbled, will eventually break away and retreat, leaving the victor to reaffirm his dominance over the territory. But the victory can be costly. The winning bull may be left with injuries that make him vulnerable to infection or predation. He has won the battle, but the war for survival is a continuous one, and he must recover quickly before the next challenger appears. However, the rhino's battles are not limited to its own species. Even these armored giants are not invincible, and they share their habitat with some of Africa's most formidable predators. While a healthy adult rhino has very few natural enemies, the young, the old, or the injured are a different story. A solitary rhino calf is a tempting target for a pride of lions or a clan of spotted hyenas. The mother rhino's protective instinct is one of the most ferocious forces in nature. She will place herself between her calf and any threat, becoming a living, breathing fortress. When a pride of lions decides to target a calf, they must contend with the mother's unbridled fury. She will charge relentlessly, her horn a lethal spear aimed at any lion that dares to come too close. Her sheer size and momentum are often enough to scatter the attackers. But lions are intelligent and coordinated hunters. They will try to distract the mother, with some members of the pride drawing her attention, while others attempt to isolate and attack the calf. It's a chaotic, desperate dance of predator and prey. The mother rhino must be everywhere at once, spinning, charging, and snorting in a whirlwind of defensive rage. Her roars are a mix of anger and desperation as she fights to protect her vulnerable offspring. More often than not, her ferocity wins the day, and the lions will retreat, deeming the risk too high for the potential reward. But sometimes, tragically, they succeed, a heartbreaking reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wild. Beyond the threats of rivals and predators, the greatest battle a rhino faces may be against the environment itself. The African continent is a land of extreme contrasts, and rhinos must endure grueling seasons of drought and famine. When the rains fail and the once lush grasslands turn to dust, a desperate struggle for resources begins. Waterholes shrink and disappear, and the vegetation withers away. For a large herbivore that needs to consume vast quantities of food and water daily, a severe drought is a slow, agonizing death sentence. During these harsh times, rhinos must travel vast distances in search of sustenance. Their immense bodies require a huge amount of energy, and with little food to fuel them, they begin to weaken. The sun is relentless, beating down on their thick hides. They become gaunt, their ribs showing through their usually plump frames. The competition for the few remaining water sources becomes intense, not just with other rhinos, but with elephants, buffalo, and countless other animals. Tempers flare easily, and fights can break out over a few sips of muddy water. The young and the old are the first to succumb. It is a battle of attrition, a test of endurance against the overwhelming power of nature. Witnessing a 2-ton giant, weakened by hunger and thirst, struggling to take another step is a profoundly moving and tragic sight. It highlights their vulnerability and their incredible resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship. Yet all these natural battles against rivals, predators, and the climate pale, in comparison to the most devastating threat rhinos face: humans. Poaching for their horns has driven the rhinoceros to the brink of extinction. This is a battle they cannot win on their own. The enemy is silent, technologically advanced, and ruthless. Poachers often use high-powered rifles, tranquilizer darts, and even helicopters, leaving the rhinos with no chance to fight back or escape. They are not fighting for territory or food. They are being slaughtered for a piece of their body, a horn that is falsely believed to have medicinal properties in some cultures. The aftermath of a poaching incident is a scene of pure horror. A magnificent creature, a cornerstone of its ecosystem, is left to bleed to death, its face brutally hacked away for its horn. Sometimes the rhino is not even dead when the horn is removed, left to suffer an agonizing end. Even more heartbreaking is when a mother is killed, leaving behind a confused and terrified calf, orphaned and with little hope of survival on its own. This is not a battle. It is an extermination. The fight against poaching is now being waged by dedicated conservationists, rangers, and veterinarians. These brave men and women are the new guardians of the rhino, putting their own lives on the line to protect these animals. They patrol vast wilderness areas, engage in firefights with poachers, and rescue and rehabilitate orphaned calves. This is the rhino's new survival battle, a war fought on a different front, where the stakes are not just the life of one animal, but the very existence of an entire species. The rhino's future hangs precariously in the balance, and its survival now depends entirely on our actions.